I'm Adrian, the cruise and travel guy, and it's that time of year again. The Alaska cruise season is officially here. If you ask me my favorite cruise destination, the answer is usually the same: Alaska. In this video, I'll show you exactly why it's a must-do itinerary and reveal the one tip that could make or break your entire trip. Because choose the wrong ship for you and you could miss half the magic. Remember, when you're planning your next cruise or holiday, head to my website first where you can search, compare, and book. Alaska is one of the world's most picturesque places, and for those looking to visit, a cruise can be one of the best ways to see the highlights. For Australians in particular, the landscape is a sight to behold. Snow-capped mountains, gigantic glaciers, bears, eagles, orcas, from the wildlife to the wilderness, it's all pretty spectacular. I cruised there 10 years ago this year and still recount it as one of my favorite voyages ever, and in fact, I'm about ready to go back myself. During this video, I'll be featuring my own photos from my cruise a decade ago, and I'm sure it'll be enough to whet your appetite for your own Alaskan cruise adventure. Now, if you've ever looked at Alaskan cruises in the past, you might have seen that so many are one-way voyages between the US and Canada. Without going into too much detail, that's because of an old US law called the Passenger Vessel Services Act. Basically, foreign-flagged cruise ships, like most that we sail on, aren't allowed to transport passengers between two US ports without stopping in a foreign port along the way. Since almost all cruise ships are foreign registered, they legally have to include a stop in Canada. Practically speaking, that's the most foreign closest place, and this is why you often see cruises sailing one way between Alaska and Canada. Cruise lines also get around this with longer distance cruises, typically sailing return from Seattle, San Francisco, and Los Angeles, with others from Vancouver. Anyway, there's a stack of cruise lines and cruise ships to choose from, and my advice for your Alaskan cruise might surprise you. Cruising is sometimes all about the ship, and at other times, it's all about the destination. Alaska is other times. We're talking about a place where the scenery is the star, where depending on the time of year, the sun doesn't set until late in the evening, before rising again a lot earlier than it does here, at home anyway. It helps maximize your chances of seeing wildlife from the ship, and at least just enjoying the amazing sights for as long as possible every day. During my cruise in 2015, Michael and I sailed on Star Princess, now Carnival Encounter. For a mass market cruise experience, the ship was almost perfect. Wide open decks allowed easy viewing of the passing scenery, and a passenger count of around 2,500 meant that things weren't ever too hectic on board or when it came to disembark in port. So if you haven't been able to tell yet, my recommendation for a ship choice in Alaska is something that is older and smaller. Older ships typically have better outdoor spaces than newer ships, proper promenade decks that aren't blocked by lifeboats, and upper decks that are usually more expansive. And the fewer the passengers, the better. Compare that to newer ships which, while much more attractive in many ways, carry usually thousands more people and oftentimes have restricted outdoor spaces, even going so far as to limit access to prized forward or aft viewing sections to suite-only passengers. Larger ships are also less likely to cruise the inside passage, and they tend to avoid smaller Alaskan ports like Sitka and Wrangell. Plus, in certain places, they can't always get as close to glaciers or navigate tighter passages and fjords. Don't worry if you have booked one of these newer, bigger ships, you're still in for an absolutely incredible time. It's just that my advice for Alaska is to buck the trend or the desire to book the newest, the latest, the greatest, the ModCon-centric ship, and go for something that you might not otherwise pick. One other bonus is that you can usually stretch your traveling budget a little bit further on an older ship, so you might end up finding yourself in a balcony or a suite cabin compared to something lesser on a newer ship. And what I can tell you from my experience is that I didn't care about anything that was going on inside the ship. Every waking moment, as long as I could, I spent outdoors. So my recommendation, if you can do it, is to get a balcony cabin or at least have quick access to the outside. There are so many cruise lines to choose from when it comes to Alaska. There are family-focused, more premium lines, ultra luxury lines, and even these days expedition cruise ships. It is difficult to go wrong, but some will definitely suit you more than others based on your own cruise and holiday preferences. My travel agent partner can help you find the perfect cruise for you. Just head to my website and complete the form. You can even search through thousands of cruises there and see if there's something that tickles your fancy. In addition to time spent on board the ship, some cruise lines combine pre or post land tours with their onboard offerings to create a cohesive holiday by land and sea. Princess Cruises and Holland America are both well recognized here, with their own branded lodgings and transportation networks established throughout the state of Alaska. There's a full range of options to explore, and these are a great way to see more of Alaska's interior and Denali, also known as Mount McKinley, North America's tallest peak. Although a decade ago, we did choose to do a lot of tours, well, a couple of tours that are still available today. In Skagway, we chose the White Pass Railway, a scenery-heavy train ride that took us across the border into Canada with a return bus transfer to the ship. In Juneau, we chose one of the headline helicopter trips to Mendenhall Glacier. That is definitely a trip worth doing for the experience alone, but it is costly. In Ketchikan, instead of an organized tour, we chose to walk around the town and explore on foot for most of the day. The tours we did book on that cruise, we booked privately. I booked them online before our cruise, and the operators there are very much used to working with cruise line schedules, so they will pretty much guarantee your return to ship. But still, buyer beware, if you're on a private excursion and you don't get to the ship on time, they will leave you. The bulk of the Alaskan cruise season runs through the Northern Hemisphere summer, but can start as early as April and May and extends through usually to around October. July is typically the most popular month and therefore usually the most expensive. The days are longest around the end of June and into July, and it's also worth noting that the weather is cooler at both the start and end of the season, while August and September are typically more rainy, but as always, the weather will do what the weather will do, whichever month you choose. As you've gathered by now, I'm sure, Alaska is truly amazing, but don't just take my word for it. Earlier this week, I posted on my Facebook page asking people to share their cruise experiences and holiday experiences from Alaska, and I had plenty of replies. Tina Anderson said, "My favorite destination so far went with Holland on a smaller ship, and it was excellent." Nikki Johnson added, "We did Alaska for our honeymoon in 2014, and it is still far and away my favorite itinerary." If you can find an itinerary that includes Sitka, do it. The most amazing of ports and very historical, very Russian in styling. Jason Gordon said 100% would go back. Such an amazing place and so easy to cruise and easy tours from all ports. Abraham Clott had some great advice saying, "My only paid excursion was the railroad in Skagway. Otherwise, I hiked 3 to 6 hours from each port. Save the excursions for when you're less mobile. I had an inside room. My trip wasn't that expensive, and the flights and night in a hotel were probably the priciest components." Hilton Roberts suggested the helicopter trip, but acknowledged the hit to his bank account, while Tony Evans Heath shared this stunning photo of Hubbard Glacier from just days ago. Leonie Mercer recommended a smaller ship experience with Holland America, saying, "I highly recommend HAL. The smaller ships are amazing. Hot chocolates on the promenade deck, all wrapped up with scarves and gloves. It was a journey to remember." Julie Ives is in Alaska now and wrote, "All I can say is it is amazing. I would have to say it would have to be one of the best cruises I have been on. And this is cruise 26. We are on Ruby Princess and loving every minute." So there you have it. It's not just me telling you. You've got plenty of others there confirming that Alaska is one of the world's most picturesque and incredible cruise destinations. It's also a place that I think is fairly easily accessible for Australians. We can fly to Vancouver from the east coast of Australia, generally direct. So it's definitely worth considering as an option. Have a look at some last minute deals that are coming out for this season if you're flexible. Otherwise, you can look towards next year and beyond to start planning for a year from now. But either way, if we can help you do that, head to my website, complete the form, and Cynthia will reach out to help plan and organize your perfect Alaskan escape. Let me know in the comments, have you cruised Alaska yet? Are you interested in doing it if you haven't? And if you have, what did you love about it? Share with everyone. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Feel free to follow on Facebook and Instagram at the Cruise and Travel Guide to stay up to date with my travels as they happen. You might be seeing some Alaska content soon. And again, thanks for watching. I'll see you soon. That's why you often see 1 week voyages between the Alaskan state. Nope. Since almost all cruise ships are foreign registered, since almost all cruise ships are foreign registered is what? One other bonus on an older ship is that you can usually stretch your traveling budget a little bit further. So you might actually find that you could find yourself, find, it's a bit too much. Another bonus of an older, what?